All right, welcome to the Level Up Sports Talk Show. I'm your host, John. I'm here with CJ. I got James and Amon after that will debate different topics that we have. In today's show, we are talking about the NFL. So just to start off, question number one for this show today. Recently, Odell Beckham Jr. said the following quote. He says, "I'm excited, but I'm also very determined and hungry." And Beckham said, also through the smiles, there's still this. I really want this badly. I'm ready to be great, ready to be excellent again. So question number one is, what are your thoughts on Odell Beckham Jr. in terms of what he can do this year? And we'll start off with James, and then we'll go to CJ, and then Amon.
All right. Yeah, this is James. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and start this off. Odell Beckham, I kind of, heard some of the things he talked about his hunger. And when I think about a person being hungry and determined, that's one factor that can really set you apart. When you're hungry and determined, to do something, you're willing to work harder, you're willing to sacrifice, whether that be financially or even putting away those selfish, ways, selfish acts, childish ways, that you're used to. You could really make a difference. You could really step up your game when you start thinking outside the box, outside of yourself. All right. But let's dive into the numbers. Let's look at the numbers. We got Odell Beckham, right? 44 catches, 12.2 yards per catch in the 2021 season. And he did that in 14 games. Now, that doesn't really scream out superstar numbers, but at the same time, it really says, hey, I could still be a starter in this league with 44 catches, and 12.2 yard average per catch. Now that's good, right? Now, came off the two ACL, injuries, and you got to also remember too. Now, will he still be effective? Will he still be able to run those deep routes and have that burst where he can still blow past other players? Be able to make those catches, and that's very significant because this is part of his signature. This is part of what he does. So which means he's probably going to have to just, change that up a little bit and be more effective in route running. Because when you could be a great route runner, you still can, catch a lot of balls. So I don't know if those injury, those plague of injuries is really going to slow him down. I believe they are. I believe those injuries are going to slow him down. I don't believe that he's going to be the same impactful player that he's been in the years, but at the same time, he's only 30 years old, so it's not the age problem, it's the injury problem. And we know his numbers. The first 3 years with the Giants, he 91 receptions, 96 receptions. The next year, 101 receptions in the third year. Then he had that that ankle injury where he only played a few games. He sat out 12 games probably or whatever the case. I forgot how many games he sat out, but he sat out for a while, so he didn't really have much of a season.
It was 12.
Yeah, 12. Yeah. Then he came back the next 2 seasons. He had 77 catches and then 74 catches. And after that, it was downhill from there. And then of course we know the ACL. He didn't play last season because we know the injury. So with that being said, he could be determined, but I don't really see that he's gonna be as impactful as he believes. But I give him 60-something plus catches, maybe 60 or in the range of the 60s, probably not past. I don't care if you are the number one option. And if you are the number one option on a team when you're injured and people don't really know what you're capable of after the injuries, that team is going to have a significant problem if you're the number one option, which you shouldn't be the number one option after that type of injury and you haven't proven yourself.
All right, what you got, CJ?
Hey man, so how you guys doing? Coming on?
Yeah, brother.
Let's see, Odell, man. James said a lot on that one. And I agree with a lot of what James said with Odell when it comes to them injuries. Biggest thing with Odell that I would sit here and say is Odell is with the injuries. I don't see him being a number one. He's a number two. He's a bona fide number two. Even though you have ACL injuries and stuff like that, what that hinders you from doing sometimes is because I've had an ACL tear, and it takes time to get the rehab. And after you go through it, you kind of you get scared. You lose that faith in your knee. Like, is that muscle still? Is it going to hold? Is it going to tear? So it's going to be his down the field route running is really what's going to be affected. Can he be an Edelman? Can he be an Edelman? Or can he be a Cooper Cup where his route running and Odell, if you've seen him in his routine or in practice, if y'all saw the videos on him and when he works out, and his route running, impeccable. He can still be effective in those regards. In route run, short routes, boom, boom, in and out. You know what I'm saying? Drags and cuts like that. He's still exceptional in that regard. So yes, Odell can do far, but as a number 2 though. As a number 2, yes. And the other thing is too, Odell's numbers is staggering because also too, you know, let's be real. Giants ain't really had no real quality quarterbacks out there really tossing that thing up out there. I mean, Eli's Eli, and then you had Daniel Jones, and then he went from that. Then when he went to the Rams, good quarterback, great other complementary pieces around him. He was on path to be Super Bowl MVP. That during that playoff run, Odell was significant in that run. Everybody could say, "Oh yeah." So can Odell be a corner piece onto a team? Yes. The Baltimore Ravens, for me, their offense has not shown that they are a passing type offense this time around. They said they are, which is why Lamar was hesitant. And they all tweet and talking about we're gonna go for 5,000 yards. All right, cool. Let's see. We got to see this happen.
No.
So let's see what they put together. What's the game plan for these guys to open up the playing field? Because before, for all these years, you've been a running team. So can Odell make a difference? Yes. As a number 2, definitely.
Hey, so give me a number, CJ. What do you see him as far as catches? Give me a number for catches. What does he get?
Oh, if they play him, here's the key thing. If they play him at the 2, Odell can probably get I'd say about 60 receptions.
All right, so you're right where James is. James,
yeah, I can see the 60 receptions or more. Because when you're doing those little intermediate routes and them short routes, what you want is somebody that's got sure hands and that can catch. One of my favorite wide receivers that could do that was Hines Ward when he was with Pittsburgh. Sure hands. He got you them short, tough routes. He gave you the boom, stretched out. Got it. If Odell can do that for the Baltimore, no problem. That man, he might even get 8.
All right. What you got,
Hey,
Amon?
just remember too, what's his name? I just lost this guy's name. But I'm talking about Baltimore Ravens
Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson. I don't know why I forgot the guy's name. But I told you last time, he got a dream of 5,000 yards. I got a dream of 4,000 yards.
Yeah.
He can talk about all he wants, but he'll just be dreaming about sleep on his pillow thinking about 5,000.
What you got, Mike?
I'm gonna come from a different approach. I mean, James came with numbers, CJ came with the analytics aspect. I'm gonna come with a different approach with it. I personally believe. Okay, let me start out say this. Odell's a good player. Do I think he's a great player? Like I always thought Jarvis Landry was a better player. He got more touchdowns than Landry. But I think even at LSU, but that's my personal opinion. So like we forget the year before he got traded to Baltimore, the Giants, he signed an extension. And then, like the season before, then he got traded to Cleveland. Then he said all the right things in Cleveland. Honestly, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think Odell by his brand, be perfectly frank with you, I think it's more so a brand, like style over substance. You know what I'm saying? Like he had the $1 million cleats, the $1 million watch. Like who does that? I just don't believe football is so focused, especially now since he has a ring, he had the money, he gets invited to all these galas. He got a high IG profile. He's in Drake videos. So I really don't think he's solely just about the game. Like he could say, yeah, I'm gonna do this and do that. Al Nassr say he was cool coming off the bench in Memphis. So what happened? Mike Conley, and that allows the guy upset. You know, so I mean, then he got cut like 2 games later. So it's like, okay. But I really believe, especially in Baltimore, I mean, I like Lamar. But come on, bro. Lamar, get that man no. Come on. I don't even know who the other receiver they have, to be honest with you.
I mean,
the
you
other
have
receiver
on
they
that
have?
team, you got
Who
for the
else?
Baltimore Ravens depth chart, you have Odell Beckham Jr., Nelson Aguilar, Zay Flowers is the rookie. And then you also have Devin Duvernay, Laquan Treadwell, who has bounced around from team to team. His last team was Seattle, if I'm not mistaken. So that's who you have. And you also have Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely as the backup tight ends.
Yeah, okay. Like I said, that man about getting his paper. He about building that brand back up. He's just 30. Two, ACL injuries, a couple other like lingering nagging injuries. I don't really see it. I mean, like say route running, yeah, like he can a little quick burst, but just from start to finish, nah, I don't see it personally, man. But I think I wish him all the best. Okay, catch wise, I would say the minimum. The max,
35?
no, 65.
65?
65.
Okay.
The max,
Right.
I give him 80. And plus, see, we ain't talking about this. He plays in the brutal division. You know, he played with the Steelers, Cleveland. Who else in that division? That's gonna be a nightmare for him.
The Bengals.
The Bengals. So I tell you what, he gonna get crushed. I mean, if he ain't careful, they gonna smash him. Him in that blonde hair, they gonna get smashed. So, and plus the man got a tattoo on his behind. I just can't trust a person like that. That man, the reason I know that because he said it. Like, what? Who tattoos they butt and tell you they do it? It's just weird, but But anyway.
All right, so
but we shall see.
All right, so we got 60 plus catches on from each one of you guys. So I'm gonna just end it with this. I didn't even know they even had a chart, but I'm actually looking at a chart of his injuries. So he started off in his career NFL wise, where he had a thigh hamstring strain or sprain. He had a thigh hamstring tear, grade 3, a back vertebrae bruise, thigh hamstring pull, again, grade 1, another hip strain, hand thumb strain. He's had so many injuries that I'm looking at right now. It's a list of them. And so right now they have him projected on this list that I'm looking at. Chance of injury for 2023 is that he has 50% chance of injury and chance of injury per game. He's going to probably miss by 4. If you're looking at the analytics, he's probably going to miss about 4.5 games, maybe 5. With that said, I'm going to say that he's going to get 50 catches, but I still say he's going to do enough to help the team progress to what they really need. Because really all they need, if you got somebody like Lamar Jackson who's still a dual threat quarterback, he can get you 3,500 yards passing. I'm not going to say 5,000, but I say 3,500 yards passing. And the run game is what they're known for. They will ground you into the dirt with the run game, including him as a dual threat quarterback. So I say, even if he just gives him 50 catches, let's just say out of those 50 catches, he gets 5-6 touchdowns. That'd be great for the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay, so wait a minute. I'm gonna ask all 3 of y'all this.
Okay.
Against Cincinnati, are they gonna win at least one game against Cincinnati? In y'all opinion?
Maybe at home. I say 1.
Hey, bro, I can see it. I say maybe 1, but it's predicated. We're all thinking about Baltimore's run attack offense. Like I said, they're talking about coming out passing, so we don't know what it's going to look like.
Right.
So based off of previous what they've done before, I see 1-1. I can see them breaking even.
Look,
what you got, James?
Of course, they could win a game. Look, this is the NFL. Any team's capable of beating any team. The most garbage teams will surprise and beat a good team. And you're like, what happened? Yeah, because everybody got bad days. Yeah, so they could win one. The chances of them beating Cincinnati, I give them a 40% chance because they got to win a game because they got great defense and that running game is always a problem. And look, I also heard Lamar's been working in the offseason, working on trying to be a pocket passer, so he's not so much doing what he's been doing before. And that's to be determined. You know what I'm saying? If he's working at his craft, maybe he'll be able to throw for 4,000 yards this year.
Mm-hmm. All right. James said that with a straight face, too. I'm proud of him.
I did.
All right, so we're going to go to question number 2. And this one is going to start off with Amon, and then we'll go to CJ, and then we'll go to James. All right, so question number 2. The Giants and Saquon Barkley had a stalemate over a long-term contract. Barkley said earlier this week that he might have to sit out the whole 2023 season. Now, the Giants also just added former Jaguar James Robinson. Question is, do they get a deal for Barkley done, or will he sit out a year? What are your thoughts, Amon?
I really believe that he was probably going to sit out a year because, I mean, really the Jets, not the Jets, my bad, the Giants, they don't really have, they don't have nothing. They're a good team. I know they re-signed Daniel Jones, but somebody, I forgot who said it. They said Daniel Jones is an excellent runner or rusher or something like that. So they putting it out there like, I guess, if Barkley don't come back, we got Daniel Jones. I'm like, what? That makes no sense. But I believe, man, because the NFC East is brutal. You know, they got the Cowboys, the Eagles, Commanders, I'm sorry. So it's kind of like, pay the man the money, pay him what he's worth. He's like I don't want to be disrespectful, but he's kind of like Tiki Barber. Tiki Barber to me had better hands as far as catching, but I mean, as far as like he carried a lot in the workload. But I really believe the front office staff isn't as good as it was back then. I think now analytics came into play. People aren't really heavily on, well, not everybody. Certain teams aren't as heavy on running backs. The Giants are one of them though. But so if the Giants were a passing team, I would say don't even sweat it. But they more of a run, a ground and pound type team. So I'll say pay them man money. And, you know, let him do his job. Let him work. That way he can focus on the game plan, the playbooks and everything and get ready for the season.
All right. What you got, CJ?
Man, so this one I talked about, I mentioned this earlier with some other folks, man. When it comes to this one right here, Saquon's at a kind of a lose-lose situation. I feel like Saquon, it's better for him to just go ahead and play. It won't do him no justice to go ahead and sit out. That NFC East, you could say, you could name them, and you could sit here and say, even the Commanders, you can look at them saying, they're not that great of a team. But you know what all them 3 teams have? All of them got running backs. Mm-hmm. A 2-man running back system. Eagles, Commanders, Dallas. So the Giants without Saquon, definitely not going to be a threat to anybody. So he definitely going to need to play. And it does him better for what he's talking about and stuff about running backs as a whole, how running backs are starting to become obsolete. That's something to pick a fight at the CBA. That's something to argue with as a whole at your next thing, so then you guys can come together as a group. This ain't the best time to do it, because right now you still got is Dalvin Cook? Did Dalvin Cook sign with anybody?
No, he has not.
Nope.
Hey, Saquon sit down, Dalvin Cook will step up.
Yep.
Why? Because it's a check. And that's what I'm saying. So it won't do him no good, right? In this sense. So, and even we'll say, we'll talk to him later about. But like I said, it's players out there, that running backs out there that you can get dime a dollar. So it won't help him to sit out. And just go ahead and play.
But let me ask you this in terms of Lamar Jackson, what he did, because it looks like what he did when he didn't go for what the Ravens were saying, and he waited, and he got his money. So you don't think he should do that same type of approach, even from his standpoint? And I'm thinking about injuries, that is.
Yeah. See the problem. I feel like the problem that's going on now with the NFL has itself transitioned to a passing league. And Lamar is part of the rising stars. He's more of a big premier face of the league to quarterbacks now. Right. So Lamar could sit back and do that. His numbers spoke for itself. Saquon, due to injuries and stuff like that, he doesn't hold that same kind of weight. The position doesn't hold that kind of weight. That's what hurts him. The position don't hold that weight. So, like I said, Hey, Baltimore made that deal was because can you find another quarterback that's like Lamar right now on the market? No. Can you find another running back or a halfway decent running back, Dalvin Cook, to replace Saquon for a year? Yes.
Ezekiel Elliott.
Ezekiel, that's what I'm saying. Like you could find replacements for Saquon. You can't find a replacement for Lamar. That's why it worked for Lamar. So that's the only reason I sit here and say he's Saquon. He won't sit out. They'll try and figure out something, but he won't sit out. It won't help him. Just go ahead and play, and and just try to stay healthy as much as possible.
All right, what you got, James?
So the Ravens paid Lamar Jackson to make him become the highest paid player by an average salary.
A little chuckle.
That's the dumbest move that I can imagine any team making. And they're going to pay for that. Just remember that. Mark my words. They're going to pay for that terrible contract. Now, talking about Saquon Barkley. Look, CJ hit it on point right here. Because you could find a running back to replace Saquon Barkley. And that's the problem. There's so many different running backs. Sometimes when it comes to running backs, it's not even about pure skill, pure talent, because you got those great running backs that you're going to put a name to. And you got, man, this guy is great. Like Derrick Henry, Peterson, Adrian Peterson. Guys like those that you see pure talent, man, these guys are great. That you can't find nobody like them. But when it comes to like just having a line, thinking about, hey, I just need a great offensive line and I need a solid back. And you're gonna find a solid back. And look at what's his name? James Robinson, and that's who we're talking about. They signing him for a year. That's a great sign, because if you look at this guy's stats, he had 1,000 rusher season for the Jaguars his first season. Oh, yeah. And then after that, his average is 4.4 yards for his career. That's including this performance he had for the Jets, because he didn't play much. He only had 82 something carries. So he ain't really played much for the Jets last season. So with 4.4 yards average per carry, and he had total about 4,000 yards so far for his career. And he didn't get much carries with the Jaguars, in the further season, because he had 800 some yards rushing the year after that 1,000-yard season. So it kind of diminished, because once again, we talk about the league going to become more like a passing league, which is true. And we see that these quarterbacks are throwing so many balls, more quarterbacks having 5,000-yard season, and it's just more throwing. So with that being said, yes, if this falls in a Giants' favor, if James, even having James Robinson come and they put him in the lineup to play, knowing his history, and he gives you even close to 1,000 yards, because you focus on the run and you got a solid line to be able to block and create these gaps. Hey, what do you have? You know what I'm saying? So it's all about sometimes a team. When you see a running back do good, you know what I'm saying? Put him on another team. If he has a good, look at the offensive line. Sometimes that helps in determine to see if that player is really made by the system and that offensive line. Because on another team that has an offensive line that struggles, we know, that you're like, man, this guy's a good running back. Well, we thought he was a good running back. Yeah, that's because he don't got no blockers, and they will make that excuse for them too. Typically, because you need an offensive line to be able to do some good blocking. So that's what I look at it. Now, should he sit out? I don't think he should. I think, like CJ said, he should play, because that's the problem. Now, if we look and we see a lot of people say, hey, look, I'd rather watch college because these guys got heart. They come to play. They're not about the money, because once you get to the, pros, it's all about the money, and you ain't even thinking about playing no more. And this is a prime example. I don't even want to play now. You know what I'm saying? Because I said I want to get paid. But in college, you wasn't getting paid nothing, because you're trying to get to where you can make that money. Now you sign a contract and you came in out of that contract. You know what I'm saying?
Something else in there. Now you're into college football and you get NIL deals.
Yeah. But you see what I'm saying? Like, come on now. Now you sign a 4-year contract or whatever your contract may be. Now you don't want to play out your contract because now you feel that your value is more than it is. Then you shouldn't have a 4-year deal. You should have bet on yourself then. You should have believed it was great then to get that, you know what I'm saying, to get more.
Right.
But you can't really prove it. You got to come and prove yourself and work hard for it. So settle your contract or take shorter contract. Stop looking at the money when you first get there like, man, there's a lot of money. Yeah, I'm taking it. You know what I'm saying? Or sell, hey, no, I'll do 2-year contract. I think I could be great, and I want to prove that so I can renew my contract. You know what I'm saying? They getting away with murder by sitting out, and the fans are the ones that's missing out on the money they putting in and investing to watching their teams play with the weapons they supposedly have. Yeah, that's
Preach,
selfish.
brother. Preach.
Hey,
Right.
That's
hey,
selfish.
hey, and to piggyback off what James mentioned too is that look what James was talking about. The significance of a running back has been getting smaller and smaller. Great running backs rush for almost 1,800 plus yards.
Yeah.
James just said, hey, if you can get 1,000-yard rusher, right? So 1,000-yard rusher, you need too many running backs that can meet 1,000 yards now because they pass so much. So now, you know what I'm saying? So now the margin of what the running back does is pretty much most average running backs is probably from 800 to probably 1,500 yards. They ain't even, some ain't even getting back up to 2,000 no more.
Right.
So,
Let me
So, yeah, man,
wait a minute.
Go ahead.
Wait a minute. No, let me piggyback off James and CJ. Okay, y'all remember Trent Richardson, right? Trent Richardson came in number 3 pick. He laughing already, and he pretty was. I hate saying it. The brother was a bust, right? Two NFL championships. I mean, college championships. 3rd pick Heisman finalist was a bust. Arian Foster, who was not drafted, was had a better career than Trent Richardson. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Got a big contract, and then they pretty much just ran him in the ground. But I mean, it is what it is. But like you said, the Jamal Anderson days are over. You get 500 carries for 2,500 yards, and they just you work on. So those days are long gone. So
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah, so just to cap off of that with what you guys have said, when I first saw the report that James Robinson was it's amazing that the Giants put that out, that they signed James Robinson. It's almost like they were responding right back to Saquon when they did it. He said what he said. I might have to sit out. Okay, James, you're on the team. Just do well and don't hurt yourself in training camp. So basically,
don't get hurt.
Yeah. And James Robinson, I love the guy. He was on my fantasy football team. He was excellent. The only reason why his carries and things went down for him at the Jaguars, they got ETN is in the backfield now, the rookie out of Clemson.
Right.
So his started to drop down. He was he was like a high pick or whatever, or really didn't even know he was going to be on the team for the Jaguars, but he ended up making 1,070 yards his first year. So I said that not only that, I mean, if he doesn't want to play, I'm sure Matt Breida want to play and get some carries. A rookie they got out of Oklahoma, Eric Gray, wanted to get some carries. And as we said, James Robinson. So they'll be fine regardless. The way that New York has actually been playing, and I looked at their actual season just a few minutes ago before the show. I mean, they were hitting on a lot of different things. The tight end that they got last year, his name is so you got Darren Waller now, but you had Daniel Bellinger. He was actually pretty good for him last year. So they'll find a way to win. I mean, they're just one of those teams where they have decent enough defense. They're not like they're slouches on defense. They got Ashawn Robinson, Dexter Lawrence, Leonard Williams, Landon Collins they had last year, Deonte Banks, Xavier McKinney. The list goes on. Kayvon Thibodeau. I mean, so they're going to be okay. So if he chooses not to play, hey, that sucks for the people that want to, fans of him. But
I mean,
show must go on.
Let's be real. The Giants, like the Knicks, people gonna go to the Giants games regardless.
Yeah, they're Giants.
Or not.
Right. Oh yeah.
Hey, it's a new boss in town now.
Oh, yeah.
Go Jets, JETS.
And that's what we have our Jets coming right in. Hey, perfect time.
Oh wow.
Hey, so the next question we got, and this one will go to this will go back to you, James, first. And this is in regards to the Titans. So the Titans now have DeAndre Hopkins at wide receiver. Question is, do you think they have enough now that they will make the playoffs, or will they still be mediocre with that addition that they just made?
Look, I'm buying on this one. Let's look at some of the facts with them. Now they were 7-10 last year.
Yep.
And of course that's not really good. But if you really look at it, they still gonna have Derrick Henry at running back, and now you're gonna add DeAndre Hopkins at wide receiver. Imagine that. great running back like that and a great wide receiver, and then you still got a decent quarterback in Ryan Tannehill, he's a solid quarterback, right? So he's solid. So which means he could get you the ball. If you look at his stats, I know I see your mom, but he had 37. He had 3,700 passing yards last season, right? About 65% completion, which is good. You know what I'm saying? So he had a 90 quarterback rating. It was actually 89.6, but we're going to round up 90 quarterback rating. And then he had 2,500 yards, but that was the season before. Last season, he had 2,500 yards, but he did that in 12 games. And his QB rating went up to like 96 or something like that, roughly.
He didn't have a main wide receiver target.
Exactly. And he was much better, you know what I'm saying, last year, but they decreased their but he only played 12 games. I don't know if he had got injured or whatever the case may be, but still, if he had played more games, 15, 16 games, he would have been roughly about that same 3,700 yards with a higher QB rating. So it shows that Ryan Tannehill, he got heart. He got, you know what I'm saying, he's a tough guy. He's a tough quarterback. So he's not garbage. So now you add a weapon like him to the mix and still having a running game like that. Because remember, we're kind of downplaying running game, but when you have Derrick Henry, you're going to feed that horse the ball. Now you're feeding him the ball, that's going to open up that passing lane. And you got DeAndre Hopkins right there on the outside. Come on. They're going to make big plays there, and that's going to increase his passing numbers. That's going to actually increase the offense. So is he enough to make a 3-game difference from 7-10 minus 3 game, put that in the win column and be 10-7? I think, having that weapon in there could probably, make a difference of 2 to 3 games. I think they would need a 3-game difference to make the playoffs at 10-7, because 9-8, I don't think that's going to really cut it. So yeah, I'm going to buy and say they possibly could pull 10 games off to make the playoff.
All right. What you got, CJ?
Hey man, I got him as mediocre.
Okay.
Oh, mediocre.
Hey man, I'm just saying, man. I mean, and I'm not even trying to take shots at D-Hop. It's just because of the past that they had, man. They had
AJ Brown at one point.
They had Julio Jones. They had AJ Brown. Now I understand both of those players were both injured a lot. There was injury issues and stuff with that and stuff. But the problem with the Titans, they could get to the playoffs. They got to the playoffs off tough defense, a good ground and pound running game. If they got a backup for Henry, I can see them getting to the playoffs again. Because that division itself was weak. It was weak. They sent that boy down there to Jacksonville. Hey, I'm telling you right now, that's Jacksonville's division to take. Easy. They performance they put up, they played above their potential last year. This time they're gonna need to meet that potential. So that one that's why I say the Jags. I see the Jags claiming that spot now because of what James said. I don't see. He said 10 wins might not get you in, and it's gonna be tough with. I don't know where the Colts are going, so I'm not even, throwing them up in there. But the Jaguars, it's going to be a fight between the Jags and Tennessee. I that much I can agree. And right now, I got Jags beating them hands out on that one. So D-Hop, I don't doubt his potential. I don't doubt what he can bring. What James mentioned, can he get a 2 to 3 game difference? That's real likely. That's real good. I think that's the best. That's the best way you can go about it. But the issue for me is quarterback. It ain't Tannehill. It's either gonna be Malik Willis or Will Levis. So my thing. That's why I said I was struck by D-Hop go. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going there off the backs of two rookies. Because they know Tannehill ain't the answer. Because he's been the downfall every time they make it to the playoffs. When they said, "Hey, put it all on the quarterback," he has failed every time in the playoffs. And so they wanted to be on Tannehill. So Levis and Malik and they could run out the pocket. They could, you know what I'm saying, they could create.
Right.
So to me, this is going to be a breakout year for them. So it depends on the rookies what they're going to do. So I don't mind being shocked. I wouldn't be. Hey, if Tennessee makes the playoffs, cool. I shake their hand. But for right now, without seeing what those two going to do, I say Jazz got that one, and Tennessee's going to miss out.
And just remember, I want to be clear about this for the record. All right, are they going to be mediocre or are they going to make the playoff?
That's the question.
Like I said, 9-7, 9-8 is not going to make the playoff, but they probably do a 2 to 3 game swing. And if it's a 3-game swing, they win 10. That's 10 games could get you into the playoff in that American League. So think about this: Ryan Tannehill is not the guy. He's not going to get getting you to a playoff game. Don't mean you've done nothing much if you're going to be limited first game. And if they make the playoffs, they're going to be out the first game. It ain't finna be no great team. So, yeah.
What you got, Mott?
Okay, so I'll be honest with you. I don't see them making the playoffs.
Okay.
I see them being mediocre, I'll be honest with you. But for like this, the reason why, for a couple different reasons. One reason, like quarterback, like CJ said. So you have, I really believe it's the position, quarterback position is like Will Levis to take, because they tried Malik Woods last year. He had some good games, he had some bad games, but he's a rookie, you know. So, but I think the crowd giving Wills from Kentucky, Tennessee, I think they're gonna be pushing for him, because remember last year, Malik Willis wanted Tannehill to, like, you know, not coach him up, but kind of like be a mentor. And Tannehill like basically like, man, screw you, you know. It's something in the words, you know. So that was already like a riff right there. So Tannehill already thinking like, dang, you're doing it for take my job. So of course he balled out last year. But Tannehill best year was 2019. He was all pro, Pro Bowl. I think he was comeback player of the year from like the year he got hurt in Miami. But he was trash at A&M, Texas A&M. That's just my personal opinion. But anyway, the whole thing with D-Hop, he could have won with any team. You know, he had like 4 or 5 different suitors. So that's why I can understand. Like, you signed with the Titans. Like, I would have went to like Patriots if I went to the Titans. He could have gone to the Giants. He could have gone to Commanders. He could have gone to the Jets. I mean, the Ravens, you know.
He went to the Chiefs.
Exactly, Chiefs, Miami. I mean, somebody who you know could thump that ball, you know, throw a ball to him. But like, even when he left the Texans, they traded him to the Cardinals. You know, he didn't want to go to Cardinals for real. He took that check though. He like, yeah, Kyler's my guy. And then he said name top 5 quarterbacks. He ain't named Kyler. Like, come on now. So my thing is, can he get you 3 wins? Yes, but when he start pouting, if he didn't get his numbers, if you don't give him the ball, when he start pouting, that's my only issue with that. Like, I don't really trust his. I don't want to say be a diva, but I don't really like team ball. You know, I don't really see it. Like, if they give him Malik Willis or Will Levis, we cursed them out at halftime and you know, kind of like messed them up for the rest of the year, or they just, you know, keep Ryan Tannehill in there just to appease D-Hop. So really, I can see them winning. How many games they won last year? Like 7.
They won 7.
They won 7 games.
7. I give them 9. I give them 9 games at least. 9 games. I mean, they're playing against the Texans, who gonna have Bryce Young, rookie quarterback. The Colts got a rookie quarterback with Richardson. Like, CJ is pretty much.
Texas got CJ Stroud.
CJ Stroud, my bad. Yeah, CJ Stroud. Yeah. Sorry, that's still a rookie. Yeah, but and Richardson. So I mean, really, like you said, it's the Colts, not the Colts, the Jaguars, or the Tennessee Titans. So they better pray to God that Derrick Henry doesn't get hurt. If he does, cancel Christmas. It's a wrap. So I don't really see him making the playoff though, personally.
All right, so this is my take on it.
That's one of your reasons, Amon. That's one of your one of the things you said. Why did he go to that team? That's because he know he's gonna get his touches. He know he's gonna get his catch. Who else is gonna throw the ball to when he goes to Tennessee? Ain't got nobody else to throw the ball to. So he's gonna be satisfied because he's gonna get fed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So let me say what I got to say about them.
So how many catches y'all real quick, John? How many catches y'all think you gonna get?
Who? DeAndre Hopkins?
Yeah.
DeAndre Hopkins got about 64 catches out of 9 games because he was suspended last year. So
Right.
a full season, and this year he's not suspended off the top. Man, you might look at 100 for him.
Yeah.
Or more.
Okay.
80 or up. 80
Yeah,
or up.
I'll at least say about
Okay.
90.
Shit.
Because I will say at least Tannehill is at least 6'3". Probably like what 5'10". Please
So-
don't maybe 6 feet.
Roughly, yeah.
So okay.
But
I give him.
so in regards to the question, though, me personally, I think that I know we give Tannehill's main issue is he throws a lot of interceptions. He has thrown 108 career interceptions his whole career.
Jesus.
DeAndre Hopkins, I think, man, you could put him on any team. He's gonna get open. He's just that type of guy.
The Packers.
Hey, if we would have got him, I mean, I would have loved to have him. I mean, especially in the year that he's not suspended. That the suspensions for 6 games really does hurt your team, especially if those teams that you are not playing in are against division opponents. That really hurts you real bad. So they have him now. And if you're going up against the Houston Texans, who have a rookie head coach now, and then you got Anthony Richardson over there at Indianapolis coach, but they have a great solid run game and they have a decent head coach. I really do see it for those two kind of can squeeze out. Yeah, the team that you got to go against in that division is Jacksonville, as CJ stated. So, me personally, though, I think they can make it. They still gotta it's a lot of ifs, but healthy Derrick Henry, a healthy DeAndre Hopkins, no suspensions. Your receivers that you had last year are getting better. And then, I mean, you're not like they have a bad defense. They have a pretty decent defense, but their defense was folded last year because their offense couldn't explode and get points. So, me personally, and I'll just say I'll leave it with this. There was a quarterback, and we watched him not long ago on NFL Network, Trent Dilfer. Everybody remember him when the Baltimore Ravens, based solely off their defense. I mean, they literally didn't ask that man to do anything but just don't throw any interceptions at the end of the game. And they won a Super Bowl by it. Well, I'm going to just leave it at this point. Tannehill did. And after that season that Mara was mentioning a while ago, 2020, he had 3,819 yards passing, 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. That was his best season. So, and they played a team that just won the Super Bowl last year in the conference championship, and that was the Kansas City Chiefs. All right, we're going to move on.
Hey, hold up. Let me give you something to think about.
Yep.
You said Tannehill had over 100 interceptions. He throws a lot of interceptions. But you got to look at what the numbers. He had 10 seasons in this league, 108 interceptions. That's 10 times 10 is 100, which means he probably had 10.1 interception average per season. So let me give you his numbers, right? Starting in 2012, 12 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, terrible. Then it's 24-17, so he's up there. 27-12, great. 24-12, 19-12, 17-9, 22-6, 33-7 in his best season that we talked about, right? 21-14, and last year 13-6. So that's not 212 touchdowns to 108 interception. That's not a bad ratio at all. 91.9 overall quarterback rating, which is a solid quarterback. Look at a lot of other team names we put up there. Look at Tom Brady's career. Even with his great numbers, his career is going to be probably about 94, close to 95 probably his career because of those great 100 quarterback rating he put for some years. Because he wasn't great every season. Tom Brady was great in some season. He was just a great playoff quarterback, technically, right? So you look at this guy, he's not garbage. He's a solid quarterback with those numbers that you see.
All right. Yeah, man, that was good to break down right there. That definitely shows his ratio as a quarterback. All right, so let's get into some I don't know if this is fun for you guys unless you're a Commanders fan, but let me read the question. The Josh Harris Group have been approved for ownership. They want to change the culture of the organization from the past 24 years under Dan Snyder. The question is, what would be your number one value to implement change for your new organization? We'll go to Amant.
I know. Let's see. This is squad. Let him go first. Let's see. That goes first. That's his squad.
Okay,
My
go ahead,
peoples.
CJ.
My people's right there, man. Come on, my peoples.
What's your number one value, Commander
I
fan?
tell you the truth. Tell you the truth. You want to change the culture for my squad. And my thing is, if you listen to the fans and the players, you want to change that history, get a new stadium. It's been talked about for the longest time that FedEx Field is probably one of the worst fields for players to play on. That's the field where most people get most of the injuries that are on FedEx Field.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like for the players, if you I know I heard that there's talk about them building a new stadium and stuff like that. They just trying to find the location and then stuff like that. But that as a new ownership, that's where I would try to put my value in. Bring in, you want to wash away with the old, bring in a brand new stadium that ain't being tainted. You know what I'm saying? Of course, so then you show that we're changing and we're meaning business. So kind of like the team owner for the Clippers. He said, "Hey man," he said, "Yeah, you know we got this team in the Clippers. Yeah, we share this arena with the Lakers, but how are we gonna get our own fan base or something different if I don't separate and get our own stadium, our own facilities? Why we always got to keep rotating out with the Lakers? So in order to do that, you have to make sure you create that divide, make that step forward, show that you want to that you're trying to make a change."
Right.
So and the Clippers eventually will get their stadium, or whatever they're gonna get, right? So cool. So that's why I'm saying for us Commanders, I think getting a new stadium, showing players and fans that you care about. You care about the fans because there's a lot that I went to FedEx Stadium. I was able to make it about 2 years ago. That was a game where Chase Young tore his ACL on the same field we sit here talking about on this terrible field. So he tore his ACL. I was at that game they played against Brady. We amazingly won that game. But to get back to it is that players have been screaming it for the longest time, and fans have wanted upgrades around that stadium. Boom! Just go ahead and build a new stadium to show that you're listening and you're going forward away from Dan Snyder.
All right, I like that, man. To get a new stadium, yeah, I've seen a lot of injuries. Played a lot of players in that stadium, so that's a good one. What do you got, Amon?
Okay, I totally agree with CJ. I think the new ownership should really give them a new stadium. Plus, let the coach the team. Snyder wanted to coach the team and run the team and be like GM, and he tried to be Jerry Jones, who tried to be Al Davis. It was just too much. And to me, RG3 got hurt because Snyder told Shanahan play the man. Because RG3 with the Snyder, because Mike Shanahan said, "Hey, we ain't finna play you," and then pretty much superseded him, and he ended up getting hurt on the same field we're talking about. So and plus, and just to bring, and then they should, I think, bring back the old Redskin teams, old players, old fans, because the previous owner, Jack Kent Cook, who used to own the Lakers before Jerry Buss did, fun fact, he owned the team. Joe Gibbs had won three Super Bowls with the Redskins. So that fan base was ridiculous. I mean, it was like stupid. DC was happy. I think it's probably more Baltimore Ravens fans in DC now than probably Commander fans, to be honest with you. And they've had good players. They had, LeVar Arrington, got Chase Young, but they never won the state. They had at one point in time, they had what's his name, Ryan Clark before, I think at one point in time. They had quite a few really good players. But they just, for whatever reason, the culture, I guess, bad contracts that Snyder. He gave Dion a contract, Bruce Smith a contract in their career. He gave Albert Hainsworth that crazy contract. It was, and that man, he just stole money from him. Like he didn't perform. He just like screw it, But I think let the coaches and the GM do their job. I think it's good Magic will, so Magic gonna provide the entertainment aspect of it, and I think the fans are gonna be really happy with the final product once. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, like the Eagles, the Cowboys, it's gonna be a tough division, but still it's gonna be good. It's gonna bring back some of that old school NFC East from back in the day. It's gonna be real competitive, I believe, in future years to come. So I'm looking forward to it, actually.
All right, what you got, James?
Yeah.
Look, so everybody made some good points so far. So just kind of looking at that, what they need to do first, I think, is, well, CJ made a good point anyway. CJ made a good point when he said about changing the stadium, a new stadium. I didn't really think about that. So that's actually a good point to do. Also, too, we got to look at, and then Amon made another good point when he mentioned about letting the coaches coach. Now, I wasn't even thinking about that. I'm just thinking about what does it take to change a program? A program that's failing, that's not succeeding. First of all, you need to make sure you might have to change from the leadership on down. You got to change out the, on the GMs, the coaches, because when you look at it, you lose. There's a lack of trust and accountability. First of all, when you're not succeeding, there's lack of trust, and it could be trust in ownership, trust in the coaches, all that stuff, and trust in one another. Then there's no accountability, and if you don't have the right coaches in place, they're not going to hold you accountable. And not having the right places and coach in place could be because of the owner, or it could be maybe the owner's not choosing a coach that could do the job. They choosing a coach that they can pull the strings more on. You know what I'm saying? So already you have a failing program when you can't have a coach in place that's going to do the job and discipline the players like they need to be disciplined. So these are the things we got to look at. And also too, once you kind of do that, you start fixing the team up and changing stuff around. When you create a new culture, you know what I'm saying? Now you establish a new culture. You put all that old stuff away, you know what I'm saying, and start on a clean slate. That doesn't mean getting rid or changing all the players, but it has to start with the leadership. Make changes in leadership and let the players know that we're doing something to change this culture around. And then adding what you guys brought to the table too, that's a good recipe for change.
So that was good points, James. I say in this regards, I say two things I would look for. One, so when you think about great teams, you think about, Chicago Bulls, and I'm talking about the early part of the Chicago Bulls, not the last 3 years of Chicago Bulls with management, but how they started their culture there. It started with, the owner has to be agreeing with the general manager. General manager has to agree with what the people that are around him supporting him as far as scouting, all the different things that go along with that. So you think about the Warriors, the Golden State Warriors, you had some really good scouts in there, and the general manager had a plan in place. He sold that plan and he stuck to his plan. Why you see, you have Steph Curry, Draymond, a group that actually worked well together for so many years, and even up until now. So the first thing I would say is, with that, know who you want to be. As a team, the Steelers, we know they're for their defense. We may know the Kansas City Chiefs now for offense. What type of team are you going to be? And then the second thing I was going to make mention is, hey, we wanted to get away from that old regime. Hey, I know it was a name change just recently, but I say go ahead and get another name change. Change is something that you guys came up with. You're the new owners. Hey, let the name get away from the Snyder regime and all the bad things that happened with that, and cut that slate clean and go with a different name. That's what I think on that. But all is going to be good with the Commanders or the Washington team, just because I think the change that they got right now is going to be probably the best thing that happened to them in the 24 years since Snyder got there, actually.
Hey, so hey man, let me hit y'all with something real quick. Some facts that they talked about, bro. You know that this field so-called has a curse on it, bro, because they talk about the injuries that have been sustained by the surprising thing has been the quarterback. Yeah, I know about the Joe Theismann compound tibia fracture on his leg, right?
Yep.
That was back there in the That was way back there. Then they talked about Robert Griffin dislocating his ankle in 20, and that was before. Now he dislocated his ankle, and then he came, and that was later. But before that was after he tore his ACL, MCL, and his meniscus in that doggone game that he shouldn't have been playing in. Then we know about the Alex Smith compound tibial issue, and then Kyle Allen dislocated his ankle on that field. And then I forgot about that. Joe Burrow tore his ACL on that field too.
Oh wow.
Joe Burrow, remember that was his rookie season.
Rookie year.
Yeah.
Rookie season.
He tore his ACL on that, and then after that was Chase Young. So when I tell you, when you hear you want to change a culture, man, you want to change, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you know what I'm saying, something ominous on that field. Bro, change that thing. Get them boys up out of there.
Yeah, that would be awesome for them to have a new stadium. And I know it takes time to get all that approved and all the funds and money that has to go through, especially at them first, buying the team. But I mean, that process can get underway, and it takes some time. I mean, you see this stadium that the Chargers now play in. I haven't been in there yet, but I've been by there in the Las Vegas Raiders. I mean, it's just from looking at it from miles away, it looks awesome. So, you don't have those same, the fans, even like you said, the fans will love it. I'm sure the players would definitely love it because they have to play it in every day. So that would be a great thing to get implemented very, very soon. So last question we got for the show today, and this is in terms with the Las Vegas Raiders. So Devontae Adams stated that the following. He said, if we really want to have a shot at winning the Super Bowl and having all the elite aspirations that we do, we're going to need that guy. And that guy he's referencing was Josh Jacobs. So he said, I'm praying that we can still figure something out, but also understanding where Josh is coming from and trying to coach him through it at the same time. All right. So question is, it's going back similar to what the question was earlier with Saquon and Barkley. What, in your opinion, will it take for the NFL to pay the next wave of running backs what they are due? And so we gave that one to CJ, the last one. So we'll go ahead and start with you, Amon, and then we'll go to James, and then CJ will be last.
So, Raiders my squad, and I have a love-hate thing with the Raiders. I love them to death, but they always let me down the worst time, bro. From draft picks to just crazy decisions. So I'm gonna say this: Josh Jacobs has been a workhorse since he's been from Alabama. Despite everybody's trying to, despite Derek Carr, unfortunately, I actually like Derek Carr. No, I don't even really like Jimmy G for real. I mean, he's a good quarterback. I just don't trust him. But I think Jacobs should get extended. He should get paid because he's been a good. I want to say he's been a good guy. He's been he's answered all the right questions. He hasn't. Even when they had to mess with John Gruden and the whole, racist emails and the Henry Ruggs thing, because Henry Ruggs was Jacob's teammate, he still did not throw the organization on the bus. He didn't say I'm the best running back here. At the time, I forgot the brother's name, who's the running back then, but he wasn't starting when we first got there.
Right.
So, to me, Jacobs does more for the Raiders than Saquon does for the Giants. That's my personal opinion. So in his case, yeah, they should go ahead and pay him because he's done everything. He's kind of done, I guess, Dwayne Wade stuff. Okay, I'm be a guy. I've gone to all the photo shoots. I've done community work. You need somebody as a face for this new relocation from Oakland to Vegas. I've been here. After the whole Marshawn Lynch situation where he didn't really pan out because he was, going back and forth with the whole national anthem thing. So I really believe that the Raiders are going in the right direction. I don't really like the head coach because they trying to bring the New England culture to that. Man, don't do that. Because I think Tom Brady is like a part owner now of the team too. Quiet as kept. So the Raiders to me have always been a good run team, and then last couple of years since Carr been there, they've been a passing team. So they had Devontae Adams. And he balled that last year. But I really believe I ain't gonna make it no win. Pay the man and go about your business. Because because right now Kansas City's division. I hate saying that. I can't believe I just said that, but it's Kansas City's division until somebody else is taking from it, which won't be in time soon.
So would you say, in your opinion, you would agree with him? He should play this year under the $10 million.
Because he's still on the contract.
Right.
So he should play, and there ain't nothing to scoff at that amount of money. But I can see he catches and he runs. So
Right.
he does a lot more than just run the ball. That's why I say he's more important to the Raiders. Like if they lost Jacobs, Saquon, the Giants can win without Saquon. They proved it. Raiders, especially with a new quarterback, second year head coach, Devontae Adams second year, is nobody there from the Jack Del Rio regime or John Gruden regime to help out. So
Okay.
yeah, I should say he should play. So.
All right, what you got, CJ?
With this one is Josh Jacobs, man, he's definitely a weapon or a piece for the Raiders. I enjoy watching him play and progress over the few years that he's been there, man. He's been a monster, man, fantasy wise too. So to see this, man, and that you know what I'm saying, that they did want to pay him and stuff like that. But going back to this question, it's like, man, what would it take for the NFL to pay the next wave of running backs? Again, this goes back to what we were saying with Saquon. These guys the running back position is being devalued due to the way the league is going. So the NFL ain't gonna pay the running backs that money unless and I think I mentioned this to John, they're gonna have to do this at the CBA. They can't do it now. They can't do it. The problem is that these guys can't come together. They can't do it like they're doing it right now because the running back position is being undervalued. So you can't sit here, one or two players say, hey man, I'm gonna just sit back out. Like I said, there's more running backs that's available to replace them than it is for them to, for them to try to play that move. So what they need to do is do at the CBA, come together like a collective bargaining agreement, and then make a stand as a unified front. Linemen, linebackers, everybody come together in their position and take a stand and say, hey, what I would suggest that running backs do not get hit with, if you still want to do them on a rookie deal, if you want to do rookie deals with running backs, cool. But you should not be able to franchise tag at all because their career is shorter. Their position is shorter, has a shorter football career than any of the other positions. Cornerback, you can play cornerback and then go back to safety. You can extend your career that way. Quarterback, we're seeing Brady,
Rodgers now.
Brady, Eli, you know what I'm saying? All these guys extend their careers long term. The only position, even wide receiver, can be extended to a certain degree. You know what I'm saying? As long as you working with the organization and stuff like that on, you know what I'm saying, so you don't take that much money. But you can still stay in the league and be played and be a second or third round and be a second and third option on a team. The only position you can't do that with is the running back. And so with that running back, you need to say, all right, cool, we will stop franchise tagging you. You're gonna have a rookie deal. All right, after that rookie deal, then we have to do, because if you franchise, because they can franchise tag, the current state is now you can franchise tag any players twice.
Right.
Twice. And for the running back position, that usually, so you come in when you probably 23, 22, right? 23, 22. Your rookie contract is probably 4 years?
4 years.
4 years. Then, all right, cool, franchise tag, boom, another franchise tag. That's 6 years, right? So now you are at the age of 29 or 28. And,
What?
and at
When
that
Kirk
time,
Cousins franchise? I'm sorry.
huh?
When Kirk Cousins franchise twice before he left for Minnesota?
But again, his position is quarterback.
Quarterback, right.
See what I'm saying? Quarterbacks got longevity. You could play till you almost 40. You can't
Right.
run till you. AP ran to what? AP was what, 34?
Mm-hmm.
I think he was 34. Frank Gore 35. I think Frank Gore was the one that stayed in the longest. But
Right.
when you get closer to the age of 30, they already looking for your replacement. They saying, oh yeah, this is his prime years. When you get to that 28, 29, and 30, they need a solid contract. So don't franchise tag them first 2 years, those 2 years. Take away the 2 franchise tags, and that's how you save the running back position and at least get them their money.
Quick, before James answers, quick questions. Okay, CJ, so do you think I'm trying comparison, the center position in basketball is like the running back position in football? Like as far as like kind of like
the way it's being the way the game is changing, yes.
Okay.
Because the center now, we used to be the most dominant piece. Now it's like it really was turning. It was turning away because everybody now is guard heavy. Everybody want to shoot threes. They want to go small ball. Golden State, I think Golden State's roster right now, the tallest person is 6'9" on their roster, unless they get somebody else. And they won championships based off of that setup. That's Golden State though. But a lot of teams are trying to emulate that type of style. Now, you have a couple of the big men that make it prevalent, you know what I'm saying, to have a center, which was this year with Joker and the year with Giannis. Now, can it make a pendulum swing going back? It just depends on the big. It depends on the bigs. And they want them to do everything now. Rim tech, shoot threes, post up. So that's why Victor is going to be such a showpiece right now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If he could bring all that, then the pendulum might swing a little bit more, where it's a little bit more balanced. But right now, it's guard heavy.
All right, what you got, James?
CJ made a good point about the fact that like quarterbacks, their game time is extended with the rules to protect them. Now they playing till like 20 years nearly, retire age 40. So guys got longevity with some rules for them. Wide receivers, you can't defensive receiver, all those rules. Like running back, we know it's always been that position because you're getting pounded in and out every hit. Every carry, every possession, you're getting pounded. So yeah, it wears and tears on your body. So you don't have a lot of years in the NFL. I'm probably around 10-year average, 8 to 10-year average career. So which means you need to get your max contract eventually, sooner than later. You know what I'm saying? So that's a good point. What can they do? Is honestly, I think what they should do really is reduce the years from their rookie years for that contract. You could give them a 2-year contract and then see a performance. So now they could be able to negotiate their contract based on their performance after that 2 years. If you do that, now these guys can start getting paid. Because if you sign a 4-year contract, I don't expect you to try to see if you can, at your 3rd year, renegotiate your contract. Because as a team, you're trying to keep money in your pocket. It ain't no different from no other business. Any other business you go work, they ain't trying to just give you money just like that. They're going to wait till for your review or whatever and say, okay, yeah, you done better. We're going to give you a 10-cent raise after you've been washing dishes for these last 2 years. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't no difference from here. You got a contract to play for 4 years. You got to play your 4 years. You can try to ask the team to redo it. If they don't, that's great. You play your extra year. When your time comes, you let that weigh into your decision of whether you're going to play for that team or not, or go to a different team because of the way they treated you. But sitting out is not an option. But yeah, I think that's the way they're going to get paid, is to really, really reduce the years for their rookie contract, so they could be able to get paid max money sooner.
So what I suggest in that whole scenario for the running backs is this, and I think Deebo Samuel hit it on the head with 49ers not long ago. Somebody had asked him about with him running the ball, and he says, well, I want to be I'm a receiver. I don't want to be a running back. And the reason being is what we're talking about now. So what I suggest is this. because we know we look at the average with the highest paid NFL player, which is Christian McCaffrey. I think he's at 16 million. Well, the highest paid receiver right now in the NFL is Tyreek Hill at 30 million. Devontae Adams is at 28 million, and so on and so on. DeAndre Hopkins is 27.3 million. I suggest this: since it's going into a passing league, make incentives for those running backs that make catches. If you get 20 catches in this league or this year, if you get 30 catches, 40 catches, so on and so on. I think somewhere in there, hey, pay them based on the amount of catches. Maybe put that in the contract. If they catch so many balls out of a year, well, bam, pay them for the amount of catches, But I would pay them that way since if they're not going to willing to be going any other way, and we value the receiver level and pay them a higher salary, put that in place. If you're going to be throwing the ball, I'm thinking about Saquon Barkley had 57 catches last year. I think he had the most on his team, but he's not getting paid for it.
That's a good point.
So I say put some incentives in there if you're going to be a receiver like that. Hey, we get on the fantasy football points per reception, money per reception for them in the NFL is what I suggest on that.
That's a good point. I like that. That would work. Yeah, because they put in that workload, dual threat, right? Running back and receiving. So that's a great point.
Yep. So did anybody else have any thoughts on that?
No, I actually like what James said. I agree with what James. Actually, I didn't think about it like that. Shorten the rookie contract, even by a year. That would help. Even if they wanted to keep, the franchise tags, at least you got to shorten something for that position. In this strictly position based because of the running back. The only other position that I might give you a little leeway on it might be linebacker, but right now, running back is the one that's at the most detriment right now because it's the workhorse. You can sit there like James said. You can sit there and treat it like a business. Oh man, we're gonna get the most out of these guys for 4 years, and then we're gonna shrimp and pay them this on. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we'll salary tag them, and then we'll pick us up a running back and get another running back. After you use that running back up for 6 years, get us another running back out the draft. So then we get him on the rookie deal. That's the gameplay. That's the game. That's how they're getting around that. That's how they're getting around the running back. So what you do is, like James said, shorten that rookie deal, or stop the franchise tags on that running back position.
Well, this is definitely going to be a topic that they're going to continue to go over again because this is not going anywhere. When you have some of the top running backs, we have Derrick Henry speaking out against it, and all the other running backs. When Saquon is thinking about even sitting out, a running back shouldn't even have to think about sitting out a whole year, just because of the fact that the team doesn't want to pay him what he's worth. So that's going to be an ongoing deal that they're going to have to resolve, and I pray that they do resolve because running backs, man, for as long as the reason why I started watching football in the first place was Barry Sanders and his style of play. So that's one of the positions, man, has always been creative. You have so many different runners, and we still to this day can debate who's the best running back in the NFL. So, but that will end off of the show for today. We thank you guys for listening, tuning in to us, and we ask that you subscribe to us, Level Up Sports Talk, and we'll see you to the next time.
All right, fellas, level up.
All right.
Level up.
Level up.